Welcome back to the Nutrimedical Report. We have Jim Deal here and Pete Feddick. Jim, you're here for just a half an hour, so I want you to kind of summarize. We have a big dinner coming up in LA that we'll be attending, I think, April 9th, coming up in about a month, for karatbars. And I think a lot of people dismiss it as like, well, this isn't a real serious business. It's very serious. Karatbars is in what I call the saving stage right now. It's saving in a gold-backed currency. Just like years ago, they dismissed cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Bitcoin now, there's 12 currencies like Bitcoin out there. And Bitcoin are doing all kinds of stuff all over the world, doing bank transfers, exchanges, etc. And in fact, the Japanese government's trying to figure out how can they tax Bitcoin. Pretty darn impossible because it's a encrypted currency that can be literally sent by encryption anywhere in the world. Karatbars basically will transition with the K exchange to where people will be able to buy and sell on eBay or their store or whatever, buy leather goods to make shoes in Brazil from Italy, buy and sell services like tutoring online or doing legal transcription, all kinds of stuff. And that you can actually literally go in your back office and sign up now so that you actually will be on the system when the K exchange really expands. Stage 3 is it's going to be able to settle debts. In fact, there's a kiosk system that's being set up out of a company here in America that will allow you to actually not only get karatbar currency, but the karatbar cards, 1, 2, and 2.5, 5 gram cards, and the karatbar currency, which is now released as of December, that has 1/10 of a gram of gold in it. So it's actually got gold in it. These are all, by the way, have encryption systems, so they can't be scammed. In other words, there's an encryption system, so you can't scam the card or the currency. And because they're gold-backed currency, they're not tied to a big, mega bank. They can't be devalued like the dollar or the ruble or any other currency. And finally, it's going to become a significant competitor for other world currencies. There's many different alternatives, and we had G. Edward Griffin on last year talking about this because he wrote the book called The Creature of Jekyll Island, which, of course, they recently did another almost Jekyll Island thing with Hilton Head just about a week ago. They tried to see if they could slam or dump Trump. The fact is, Trump is attacking the bipartisan beast system, the entrenched system of I call it the swimming in the sea of cash in the district of criminals. And what people need to understand, there's really, as Matthew said the other day on the show, 3 different types of government. We have our regular government, which we see publicly, the President, the Congress, and Senate. Then we have the secret agencies, and they're the most powerful part of government, and they actually don't answer to the President or Congress or Senate. A lot of the trillions of dollars of illegal drug money that comes and goes to corporations like Bechtel Corporation, Sun Microsystems, Lucent Technology, Storage Tech, etc. And nobody knows except inside the agencies. And then thirdly, we have the banks. And the banks are kind of tied with the transnational corporations to the ultimate power, which are these secret agencies. I asked one of my patients who was actually back in the mid-'90s, and he told me that 90% of what the NSA does, which is somewhere around maybe a couple hundred times bigger than the CIA, which is the largest agency on Earth other than the NSA, and DARPA, 90% is industrial espionage, believe it or not. They're scoping out technologies all over the world. They're snooping on everybody. 3Com, which brought the phone system into China, is completely under DARPA and the NSA. People don't know that. I do. Okay? So I know pretty well, I even want to call everything, but pretty damn close to it. And what people need to understand, if you want a currency that can't be devalued or destroyed, you want to have insurance on your money. You don't want fractional reserve money in any way. You don't even want to buy gold and silver in fractional reserve money, because when you want to sell it again, you're going to get funny money again. You're not going to get real money. You're going to get funny money. Then if they devalue the funny money, all of a sudden, although your gold looks like it's really valuable, it still costs you a fortune to buy a loaf of bread or put gas in your car or do other things. So you want real money. You also want to have a system where eventually, if you have to do encrypted transcription, encrypted buying and selling, you don't want the snoopy government or global government trying to know what your business is, because in places like Europe, they're moving toward a cashless system where every transaction, giving your kid $10, they're going to know because they're getting rid of cash. So, Jim, there's lots of reasons, but I tell people the first thing is just save in gold-backed currency. Just save, and then build a network. And your network downline is going to make you money because you're helping them to start saving, and you build a network, and before you know it, you're going to start saying, my gosh, on this Friday, I got X dollars put in euros and put in my karatbars MasterCard in Stuttgart, Germany, and you can cash it out. So you can transfer it to, buy things, to buy goods and services on the Karatbar system. You can transfer it out to your physical bank. There's all kinds of ways of actually, making sure you insure your future financially. So, Jim, let's talk about this for a minute. People need to understand the why. This is not just buying gold or silver, which is a good idea, but it's even a better idea to have a gold-backed currency, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. And the thing that is genius about Karatbars, this question comes up a lot where people say, well, why don't I just buy coins and, things like that? Well, the thing is, when you get in a situation where you have to do a transaction, you don't want to have to get into a possible scenario where they're going to say, we're not going to accept your product because we don't know for sure if it's really what you claim it is.
Right.
Well, because of all the security features on the Karatbars product, it's got a DNA signature in there. It's got a black light thing that shows up stuff. It's got the assayer signature on it. It shows that it comes from a LBMA refinery. So these are all security features.
Exactly, yeah.
That will keep people from questioning. Anybody that knows anything about gold and what's going on in the world, they'll accept it. They won't have any qualms about it. The other thing that's really cool is we've had third parties actually tear our cards apart and actually weigh and test the purity of the gold, and it turned out to be the purest gold. They said, we've tested a lot of golds, purest gold we've ever seen, and it actually was just a hair over a gram, because Karatbar's philosophy is we're going to err on the side of the favor, because if it comes to be a hair under a gram, then the refinery loses their LBMA certification, and we don't want to put them at risk. So they've done a lot of research. This is a tight product. People say, well, it's a little bit more expensive than other types of gold. Well, gram for gram, it's right in the ballpark with any other product that's comparable to what we have. And really, there is nobody that has a product comparable to what we have because of all the security features I mentioned. So you want to be able to have something that you can actually use for money. And that's what this is set up to do. And it's unique. It's a very unique product.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what people don't understand is how simple it is to do this. You can start out with a bronze package, which is around $50. Purchase a gram of gold a month, which is around $50. And you can start building a network by spending half hour to an hour a day, 4 to 5 days a week. And in 12 weeks, you have a downline that's got your residual income that's going to continue growing even if you took 2 or 3 months off. That's what's amazing to me. And if you do the proper thing, it's like tending a garden. You pull the weeds, you water it, you add fertilizer, etc., which means you're going to call your downline, email them. In fact, I'm preparing an email this weekend for all our immediate downline, and you recommend that your downline people, because they have their own email list, because we don't have access to that they contact their downline and say, do you need help? Do you want to go over sizzle calls? Do you want to know how to concentrate on your business and your call list? Real simple. Make a call list. Get help from your upline if need be, but most of the time it's easy. You just play the sizzle call. If they're interested at a 6 or higher interest level, send them the video clip to watch from a care group team or record at pgr.com, which we have on our website on Nutrimedical at the top there of announcements and notices. Simply get them to sign up with their fraud and security department of their credit card, because, of course, fraud and security doesn't like buying gold, especially internationally. And they play this game, although the regulations in Germany are tougher than anywhere else on earth, including America. And then once they sign up, boom, they do their KYC, know your customer, and there's 2 different sets of documents. You got to do it right or you'll mess up your start. And once you've done that, you just start working on your list. Go down through the top 20 people, figure out who it is, and then help them work on their lists. And before you know it, you've built a network. That's how easy this is. Like Dan Jeromo says, it's like washing dishes.
Yep, absolutely.
Wash, stack them, rinse them, put them away. It's that simple. It's not difficult to do. Anybody can do it. Welcome back. And so, Pete, what brilliant ideas do you have to motivate people? One of the big things we want to do is, if you get a certain amount of momentum and you also pass it on to your downline, and they catch it and say, wow, we have some downline people that have really gone crazy. For example, Professor McKinney. We have people like Kino, that runs a fruit stand in New York City, done fantastic. We have people that are moms at home, people are retired. It doesn't matter what your background is or even how much money you have. you can do fantastic in this. And some people don't even want to do a whole lot of the business. They just want to transfer a good portion of their resources into karatbars because they know the karatbars isn't going to go poof. It's very certain there's going to be an economic hiccup, it would be the best term, or maybe cardiac arrest, but probably resuscitated, of the economy, so that most likely world currencies are going to take a major hit this year. There's just no way around it. With the price of oil bouncing down really low and the Baltic Dry Index extremely low, it's almost certain. So how do you motivate people to say, let's just do this? How do you do it? You just call them up and say, hey, if you need help, I'm here. You send an email to them and say, hey, even if you're not interested right now, even if you haven't gotten in karatbars, can I send you more information, say, a few weeks or months from now? What do you do to get people motivated to say, let's just do this?
Well, first of all, you're hitting right on the head of those are the things that you should be doing. There's just no way around it, and there's no better way to do that than what you just suggested. But we have a training site at karatgroupteam.com that will actually take you days to get through it. There's so much information packed in there and on there to teach you all kinds of tricks of the trade, so to speak. I shouldn't say tricks. That's probably not the best word. But techniques and suggestions on how you can do that. We've just come out with a step-by-step video sequence to gain the interest of a prospective party and effectively lead them through the whole sequence of getting signed up and moving forward with us. But there's just a plethora of things that are on the site. There is a website tools. There are training tutorials, recordings of training sessions that we've done. We're now holding live events and actually recorded events that you can actually tune into and learn more as we go through this. And it's just so jam-packed full of information. There's just no excuse not to gain all manner of confidence that you can do this business. On top of the fact that you have an upline that it's in their best interest to help you, and we want to help. We want to see people succeed. It's not just wham bam, thank you, ma'am. You're signed up. You got your package. You're done. We're good luck to you. That's not what karatbars is about. That's not what your upline is about. Your upline is there to help you, and we want to help. We have a vested interest in seeing you succeed. So use your upline.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is so simple. And a lot of people say, well, I need to get a fancy website first. No, don't. They already give you a website. What you need is a phone and maybe an email. That's it. In fact, a lot of people don't have an email. They just have a phone. That's all they need. And if the people they know, some people will say, I had one couple back late last year, they said, well, we want to do this, we want to build security, we want to, and then they give them all the reasons for their why, and then they say, but we hardly know anybody, we live in Paris. I'm thinking, I'm sure you know half a dozen people. And those people know probably, if you take collectively, they know hundreds of people. So to say that you don't know anybody is like, really? Come on. You live on planet Earth, you're not on an outer moon of Jupiter, you've got to know 5 people. Just think of it this way. Would you like your friends, your relatives, and your business partners to be suffering with a devalued currency where their pension funds, their value of their home, and everything they buy or whatever, denominated in these fractional reserve currencies, gets massively hit, like 50%? I mean, if you know anybody from Weimar, Germany, which, by the way, nobody's survived that, but I knew people from Hungary in the 1960s when they had their currency devalued there. It was crazy. Or if you talk to people from Venezuela, it's like, really? 90% reduction in the currency or more?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they just did it again, apparently. They just happened it again. And now they're bartering down these South American, we call socialist, communist countries. And this is, of course, why we have Pope Francis, who's a communist, We got to face it. That's what he is. Socialism, in its most vile form, never survives because it never talks about how you can build an economy. You need to have a balance. So if you want to be socially responsible and say, I want to have education that's affordable or inexpensive or free, you have to have an economy to pay for it. If you want to have health care, you need to control costs, and you need to have a system to raise the money so that you can pay for it. I could set up a system. In fact, I'm writing a paper on health care that'll cost about a quarter what it currently does, and everybody will have health care. When you have 40+% tax rates on the middle class and small business, which is the backbone of America, how do you expect to have an economy expand or develop from small business to medium to large when you're taxing them to death, and then the spending is out of control? When you have military spending, it's like pork barreling. A jet that should cost $25 million costs $240 million. Things, make one city or town or a little village makes one part to the jet. And the jet, by the way, doesn't work. So nobody in the military wants it. It's like, this is a piece of junk. Why would we do this? Because it's a pork barreling political football. America is run by the district of corrupt criminals, and Trump is breaking it all up. And, it doesn't matter whether the guy, his father was a high-level Mason or he's a Mason. He's not in with the crowd that's running the country. He's not. People say he's part of the establishment. No, he was a businessman, and he worked with both sides, building buildings and putting Trump on his name and selling Trump this, Trump that. And he's built a fortune of $10 billion at least, with 5,000 companies. That's a lot. The fact is, you personally out there need to start building your business, your karatbar business, because they're going to hit the middle class even harder. I was just talking yesterday to a gentleman about the website Deagel, DEAGEL.com. It's a military site. But they project by 2025, which is 9 years, that the U.S. population will be reduced to 68 million from 317 last year. Now, how the heck can that be done? You should see all the numbers they talk about. They talk about a reduction in world population of 6.7 billion within the next 9 years. Tell me how the hell that can happen. Either have a nuclear war, a comet coming or an asteroid. And they're literally in the resilient cities talk about 12 cities of 5 million, where all those 68 million people are going to live in the central United States. No coastal populations at all. People say, where do these nutcases get their data? Well, the globalists are nuts, and they're evil, and they're manipulating the currency. And the middle class now, 63% of Americans can't put together $1,000 to pay for a medical co-payment or a car repair or a broken air conditioner. And if you don't start insuring your money by getting into karatbars, the pain is just starting. It's going to get a lot worse. Thank you, Jim.
Okay, guys. Hey, next time I get on, if you want, there's an approach that I use to help build up your prospect
true
list.
Story that could save you hundreds.
Come back, and Pete, we're going to have next week, we'll go through Jim Deal's method or technique for recruiting and building a network. We'll go over that. Can you give her some of the basic principles you use to kind of encourage people to get going? Because a lot of people sign up and then they think, well, it's just going to happen. No, it requires some effort. It doesn't need a lot of effort. Half an hour a day, an hour a day, 4 days, 5 days a week, and you can build a significant network in just 12 weeks. But it does require you to make phone calls, to follow up and see if your people are happy, to motivate them, and to hold their hand so that they know, like you're their trainer wheels, that this is doable. And it's so easily doable, it's like you're not even selling anything, you're exchanging fractional reserve currency for gold-backed currency. You're not selling anything, to be honest with you, you're just exchanging things, which is even easier.
That is the crux of it. And, you talk about approaches, and there's a little bit of work involved, and that work is constructing a list and actually contacting that list. Now, you don't have to be best friends with everybody, or they don't have to be your closest cousin or what have you. But the fact is, you have to contact them. And, the best way to do that is by voice, not by email. I guess you can use social media, but personally, I just really see picking up the phone to contact them. And even then, it's not about you being some kind of great salesman. It's playing for lack of a better way to describe it, a sizzle call, and just getting their feedback. And you don't have to force them to do anything. You just play the sizzle call, three-way sizzle call phone number to them, and then after you've done that, then ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you see yourself? And do you see yourself being a customer, or do you see yourself building a business and making money part-time with it? And then taking the next step from there. If they want to be a customer, great, get them signed up, help them with their KYC documentation, get that taken care of. Now they can be a customer. Then get them signed up to actually do a weekly or monthly auto purchase, an auto exchange, if you will. If they're interested in being an affiliate, then you take the next step and find out what level they want to come in at. And you just describing the different levels that are available, and answer any questions that they have, and repeat the process. Wash, rinse, repeat. Like you have referred to. It really is that simple. There's no magic, but it takes a little bit of effort, and it takes consistent effort. I mean, you should be trying to talk to 3 new people per day, and if you can do that for 30 days, 3 new people, not 3 people that you attempted to contact, may not have been home and so forth. I mean, literally talking to 3 new people per day, and doing the follow-ups from previous days and so forth. You should find a couple of home run hitters that are going to do what you're doing. And that's what you're after. You're after people that are willing to do what you're willing to do.
Exactly, yeah. Now, the important thing I tell people is that you have to have the commitment that you want to help other people. Because really that's the crux of this network. The actual doing the process is very simple. But you have to realize that you only succeed if you help other people succeed. That's what a network is. It's like a family. And if you help hundreds, thousands of people down the line, if you succeed in saving and starting to build their networks, you succeed. All of a sudden you see points adding up and say, wow, I got all these points, and I've got 50 points on one side, which is your power leg, and then you got your banking leg on the other side, 25 points. You cycle that Friday and you get a check put in your account. Now, if you cycle more than one time that week, you're going to get a larger check. It's that simple. Cycling means those points also add up to infinity. So if you have, 2,000 deep, let's say, after a couple of years, and, 10,000 people in your downline, all those people are contributing points that add up to you getting income while you're helping your downline to succeed. That's how simple it is. It's crazy, actually, how simple it is. But you have to have a commitment of, I want to help other people succeed. So you can't just sit there and on auto drive, like one of these auto drive cars I want to sell us in a few years. You figure that you can just park there and it'll just happen. If you want to succeed, you have a commitment to help other people get their why, get themselves in the gear of a kind of a daily lifestyle of, hey, I spend time between, say, 4 and 4:30 every day calling my downline, and once a week emailing them, asking them if they need help, and motivating them. Just motivating, hey, have you worked on your karatbar business? Can I help you? Do you want me to do a sizzle call with you? Can I help with your downline? Doing a sizzle call with them to try to say, because you're working with some of our people that are significantly a lot deep in terms of downline to help them get motivated, right?
Absolutely.
So, tell us, what's some of the most interesting stories you've had lately?
Oh, I've had some people that got in and quite literally didn't know what the next step should be, and once I literally just described quite literally what they needed to physically do, which is construct a list. Take a piece of paper or type it on your computer and make a list of the names of the people that you're going to contact and their phone numbers. And I mean, use Excel if you need to, and or some kind of spreadsheet so that you can record notes of what your conversation was, and put little flags in there that for callback reminders and what you're going to talk about and so forth. And yes, some of that is pretty dry and but may seem like a little bit of work. And folks, that's what it really is. That's where the work is. So what? Half an hour a day. Just do that. And if you do that, I can't guarantee anything in life, but certainly you stand a better than average chance of being extremely successful doing that. Do it for
Right.
30 days at least, and you should be on your way. And not only getting yourself going, but getting the people that you find going as well, doing the same exact things.
Right. A lot of time when people listen to the program, we had one gentleman who had trouble with kind of trying to send his KYC documents all in one batch, so he kind of delayed things. But he already had signed up and he paid for his package, so he was actually in our downline network. And what was funny, he couldn't actually get his own business going because he kind of messed up his KYC for a while. And then he kind of just fell off the edge of the world and for a couple months, and finally said, hey, I think I better do this, because he went back in and he contacted him and said, oh my gosh, I got like 47 people that we had placed down below him. And he realized, and then he saw the points, which meant this is money sitting in an account that if you cycle on your other leg, this money's going to go into your card. And he realized, what do you mean? I mean, all that money's sitting there, but I can't get it unless I actually do the business? Yeah. And if you do, those points are there, and they're not just going to go away in 6 months or a year. They're still there. But if you don't do the business, they're just sitting there. They don't turn into money. So, he was in a state of shock when he realized all that money's sitting there, but I just have to actually make a few phone calls and get the other leg cycling, and it'll just go boom into my account on Friday. So it's almost humorous, actually, when people finally get it. Even sometimes there's a little delay. It's kind of humorous. Back in a moment. I can give you a cut-down program, but I'm concerned. And George Muncher going to say, Doc, my legs are still swollen, my vision's going, I feel like crap. I don't want to hear that. I wanted you to say, hey, I'm feeling some better, Deagle. I got my chamber. I'm taking all the supplements. My legs aren't big balloons. And welcome back, and we have Pete here. Pete, a lot of people don't realize also, whether you're retired or if you have disability, some of the people that we have that are actually most dynamic actually have had health problems or are kind of shut in at home, or they're retired and they don't really have a lot of mobility. This program is perfect for them. They can start making phone calls and emails and so on right from home, from their house or apartment. And you can even do it if you have an RV and you're traveling the country because you want to go traveling. You can still do this business anywhere. As long as you have a phone and the internet, you're set. That's what's cool about this. And it's flexible. You can do it any hour. You want to do it in the morning, you want to do it in the afternoon, you want to do it in the early evening or different times. It gives you incredible flexibility, doesn't it?
That's right. And you make a really good point, is that karatbars, we're open in 120 different jurisdictions and counting. And I don't mean state to state. I mean countries. And that you can really do this business just about anywhere. In almost all the Western countries, you can do it in, and you don't. You can live off of an RV. You can live in a tent as long as you have a phone,
right.
And as long as you have internet access once in a while to move your commissions around or to make a purchase.
A lot of people just do that from their fancy iPhones now. I mean, you can, or an iPad. I mean, you can be anywhere. You can go to a cafe from your RV or your van. I mean, really anybody anywhere can do this. And the thing that's neat is you can do it pretty well in any country on earth. What we were surprised as how many people signed up under us that were in other foreign countries. Within like 2 weeks, we had people signing up in Romania and Syria and in Norway and everything. Is like, whoa, this is amazing.
That's right, and they have the opportunity. The interesting thing is that people in foreign countries probably have a even better opportunity to build this big in their country than people in America do, because people in America tend to only look towards America as their place that they're going to talk to people, and that somewhat limits your opportunities. I mean, you can go easily into Canada, of course. You can go into the UK and English-speaking countries, but anytime you're in some of the foreign countries, it's not nearly as well known as it is here right now. And it's still going to, I mean, even if you're talking to, everybody over the course of days and months and a year, by the time you talk to everybody in a given country, you'll be starting over again, talking to everybody in that given country. That's how big your opportunity is.
Exactly, yeah. Now, the important thing to understand is that there's not a time like this before, is there?
Right now the economy is our friend. It's become so ugly and so scary for so many people that you could say the economy is our friend.
We mean the friend of people being motivated to do this business.
That's right.
When I hear people say, "Well, I'm not sure if I want to do it right now," I said, "Well, what time is better?" Let's say, okay, we're theoretically say, event XYZ happens. Let's say a domino effect on derivatives markets, tied with oil. So now all of a sudden, world currencies for second world countries are cut in half again, and the dollar drops in value by 30% versus commodities like food. Real serious commodities like things they can't be stretched. Oil may still be down in the boots, but the problem is if your food prices go through the ceiling and the value of your dollar gets dramatically dropped versus other commodities like metals and so on, you're going to suffer, and especially with food prices going through the ceiling. What people should realize is that if you start now, you're going to build a downline that's going to buffer you from that and also help a lot of your people. I tell people what we did immediately when we joined karatbars is we signed up all our immediate relatives under us, so they would benefit from being in the system. And our employees. We made sure that they were all signed up. Mm-hmm. Really important, because when they grasp it, they'll say. And now, even if they're not super active right away, they will wonder after a while. I build up so many points on one side. How come we don't have a check? I say, well, you need to do the business. If you make some calls, if you build up your other leg, because when we do it for a lot of people and they sign up under Nutrimedical 7, which is under me, and of course my wife's separate and so on, we had signed, for example, Professor McCanny under Michelle. In a very short period of time, he built a tremendous network. I mean, he's really dynamic. And he's living in a South American country. He's an expat. So, a lot of people say, well, where can I be? You can be anywhere. You don't have to even be in America. You can do this anywhere.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. You can do it, and even when you think about it, you can even do it from a country that's not open for karatbars, as long as you're signed up through a country that is in karatbars.
Right.
You just have to, deal with the shipping aspect yourself.
Right.
But you may visit the country that you're signed up through often enough that isn't even an issue.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I find interesting is that people will have kind of like a cognitive dissonance. They know what they want. They lay out their dreams and visions and what their wish list. And then you break it down to simple steps of how this is how you can start and do it. And some people, no matter what their background, they could be a single mom at home, or they could be a retired dentist or whatever, they'll just pick it up and just run with it. And other people will just they'll wring their hands. It's like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding. You got to make a few phone calls to people that'll actually help them. And if you get in the mode of, I'm helping other people to survive the financial crunch. We had a crunch in 2008. The crunch that's coming this year is going to be more painful. And unfortunately, I have a feeling it's going to come before the presidential elections. It might be tied to something going wrong in the Middle East. Luckily, actually, it looks like Putin has now succeeded enough. He's actually started to pull some jets and troops out of there. So I think that he's suggesting, hey, the people now need to start to have a vote, but not these extreme elements. And that they need if they want Bashar al-Assad, then they're just going to vote for him. But they're not going to leave a vacuum there or allow the Americans to say the precondition is removal of Assad. That's not going to happen. And the Russians have pulled back enough to show that they're statesmen. Well, temporarily that's okay, but, we've got Iran that's now doing missile tests. That's, right to the side of the missile, we're going to wipe out Israel. Well, you can't say that to a fellow country and just 1,000 miles away. That's craziness. What are you saying? You're going to... In America, and this idiot President Obama gives $150 billion, so they've got all kinds of money to sponsor terrorism and get better missiles and sell parts maybe to North Korea. That's where it's coming from. Those parts of those missiles are going to go from Iran to North Korea. And people need to understand there's a lot of variables going on in the world. And the bottom line is the banks are scrambling because they can't control the system anymore. They'll try to tell each other and us that they're in control of the world financial system. They're not. It's like you're going down in a go-kart down the side of the mountain, and a bunch of kids put this together, and then you ask one kid to say, it doesn't look like the steering's working very good, and you're coming near the edge of a curb where it's like 7,000-foot drop, and there's no guardrail, and you realize he doesn't have total control, so you got to stick your foot out so you don't go flying over the side of the road, and you hope that your resistance will stop you from flying off the cliff. Well, that's what's happening, and if people don't grasp it, this is the moment to do carrot bars. This is it. Down the road, not only they're going to crash the economy, which is, by the way, a controlled demolition, they want to actually force a chipped population with total control of cash. It's all virtual cash in their supercomputer divots. If you don't think that's coming, you're not paying attention. You don't have to even invoke the Bible, which, by the way, it's there. Revelation 13, and I saw those great and small, rich and poor, free and bond, that had to take a mark on the right hand or forehead, that all that did not take the mark should not buy or sell. You don't want to be involved with that system? Do carrot bars. You don't want to see economic devastation long before then? Do carrot bars. You want to insure your money? Do carrot bars. It's easy. We'll help you. Don't make excuses. We're here to help.